Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. Today, for the second time in as many weeks, I am not starting a book review by reading out the synopsis, because, just like last week, I am of the impression that the book I'm about to read needs no introduction, perhaps even more so than last week's book. To be more precise, as the title has already given away, the book I'm about to review in this video is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This book is widely, credited as a classic of English language literature, and is basically a mainstay in every English language greatest book list that I am aware of, and that has been published ever since. Ever since I was born, because of that, because of its reputation, I thought I would actually also check it out for myself and see if it actually matches up to its legacy. To be more precise, I read an audiobook release of this novel. The first, and this happens to be the first time I've interacted with this format ever since I listened to fairy tales on a record player. Yeah, that's kind of my background. I will admit that the format did color my reading experience just a little, but I'll get to that, in the bulk of the review itself. With these aspects out of the way, what can I say about the about this book as a whole? Well, the TLDW for this review is, I understand, though perhaps not necessarily agree with, what it is about this book that makes it a great book. There is plenty of passion and plenty of determination that went into molding and shaping all of its elements and all of its features, and there is plenty of eloquence that flows into how it is that these are described. However, I find myself not being particularly taken in by this book. I don't really think it fulfills its potential. The whole doesn't seem to be as strong as the constituent elements would actually suggest. It is nevertheless still a classic for a reason. There is a lot within this book to love. So if you are in any way familiar with and curious about the reputation of this book, then I suggest you go ahead and check it out. I do have to issue a content warning, same as I did for the book I reviewed last week, and for the exact same reason. And that content warning is for incest, by the way. Anyway, now that I'm done with the general information, it's time I delve into some specifics. The plot of the book follows the Bennet family, consisting of a parent couple with undisclosed first names, and their 5 daughters, all of whom are of marrying age, and for whom the mother wants to find suitable partners. An opportunity to that end arises once they find out that a wealthy man moves into their town, and is bringing an entourage for his housewarming party. Unbeknownst to them, however, this opportunity would end up causing a sizable number and degree of complications and disturbances. As I've said already, I read an audiobook of this novel, one that has been narrated by Karen Savage and released by Story Classics. And I do have to say that I think Karen is actually a pretty good audiobook narrator. She knows how to clearly enunciate, and she has a and she has a strong, steadfast rhythm to her, to how it is that she, to how she speaks, to how she presents the content in and of itself. But really, the highlight feature for me at least was how she approximates the vocal inflections of each individual character when she reads their lines. She doesn't go full on into voicing them. That is really a skill only Linkara, I think, I think has. But she does take on certain aspects of what their manner of speaking would be, which did a lot to draw me in and really hold my attention throughout this book. Unfortunately, that is the only advantage I can really find with this format, because when it came to everything else, I have to say I found myself zoning out, and therefore a lot of the side stories, unless something particularly outrageous happened, only came across as a lightly colored white noise. Enough to draw my attention, but not enough to hold it. Nevertheless, I am still relatively convinced that I picked up enough of this book in order to give it a review. So hence why I'm here. And I have to say, I'm gonna start with the what I consider to be the strong suit of this book, and that is the dialogue. Characters don't necessarily hold large conversations, or they don't really hold any any talks that are particularly bombastic, but still the lines they exchange between them are fluid and dynamic and spirited, and they do have a lot of and they manage the actual content, the actual material that this book delves into very well, with with plenty of insights into who these characters are, and a lot of information given to to aspects that I really have to figure out how to say this, and a lot of information given to how their interactions, how their ways of being actually actually shape their opinions and their actions over the course of getting to know each other. The characterization is done not solely for dialogue. However, there is plenty of there are plenty of direct descriptions, and the actions of a lot of characters stand out, particularly particularly the most noteworthy ones. And yeah, there is still this level of attention and care that that quite obviously shines through when it comes to describing what it is about these characters that makes each of them distinctive and meaningful. Unfortunately, the book kind of falls apart when one looks at what's supposed to actually hold it together, the plot itself. Now, don't get me wrong, the main storyline is actually quite good. The dynamics between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth are very much the strong suit of this book, and they do a lot to their progression within the story is very intriguing, very enticing to behold, and they very much single-handedly make this book worth literally any modern reader's time. Unfortunately, pretty much every side story this book has does not really help the plot at all, which really comes across as a mess, and all of them are either underdeveloped or are either underdeveloped or excessive, and they simply eat up page time without without bringing any meaningful narrative or thematic counterpoint to the narrative itself, or none that I've been able to recognize. There are some points where these plots synergize, but that's really all I can say. Thankfully, the book is salvaged somewhat by its world building. First of all, through the reciprocal relation that is established between the characters and their setting, or more precisely, I'm talking about the means through which they, can influence their, surroundings. And secondly, through the ways in which the connections between the various locations are explored, which ultimately helped add a lot of depth to the story and helped contextualize a lot of what's supposed to be going on. Overall, while I don't think this book really fulfills its potential, it comes close enough to it that I think labeling it as a classic does very much do it justice, and ultimately a lot of the all of its constituent elements do enough to make it an captivating and intriguing read. My final rating for Pride and Prejudice is a 4 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If you have anything to add to the book itself or to my review of it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and the Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below. Right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. Additionally, you have the option of supporting me on Patreon, where depending on the level at which you pledge, you will receive various perks, the specifics of which I will allow you to discover for yourselves. I also have a second channel, which should be linked right over there, where I talk about whatever else it is that attracts my attention. Though mostly it's about other forms of media. So if you want to hear my thoughts on various movies, TV series, video games, and stuff like that, and the occasional smattering of something completely different, then that is where you can go and check those out. Alternatively, if you want to hear more on my thoughts on books or literature, you can stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog of book reviews, writing advice, and lore videos. And if none of those interest you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want with the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.